Hi guys, it's Wendy with Crooked House Herbals, and we're here for our first week of questions and answers with Herbal Wisdom 101. I know we're a little bit early, so we'll just wait for a couple minutes in case there's anybody else that needs to join us, and then we'll get started. I've got quite a few questions that were sent in to me early, so I'm going to address them first, right after I do something with my dog. Hold on. Okay, maybe that'll be enough. As you can see, I'm in new surroundings. I have a new office, and I'm in my new place up in the Ozarks. Happy to be here. Kind of snowed in right now, but c'est la vie. That's the way it is. Anyway, if you do have any questions that you would like to ask live, type them into the messenger portion of Crooked House Herbal's Facebook page, and my lovely assistant Emmeline will be happy to retrieve them and let me know what you're asking, and we'll deal with it live. All right, so again, welcome, and I hope that you guys enjoy this series. We're gonna do this for 90 days, 3 months. So once a week, Thursdays at 7, we will have this time together, and that gives you from week to week, whatever's happening in your life. You may come up with new questions or new experiments or new discoveries or things that you want to share with other people in our community, and this will be a good way for us to showcase all of that. All right, I'm going to get started with the questions that I already have. And this one comes from Spirit Lake, Idaho. And she says, my husband has athlete's foot. Do you have any natural remedies to get rid of it? Of course we do. Because athlete's foot is fungal. We know this. And there are plenty of antifungal herbal plants out there. And actually, one of my favorites is black walnut. Crooked House Herbals makes a spray called Foot Fixer, which is an antifungal spray that cures athlete's foot and other things. But for your own sake, if you're not purchasing something from Crooked House Herbals, some of the herbs that you would want to use to treat athlete's foot would be black walnut and wormwood, plantain, lavender. Lavender is very antibacterial, antifungal. Plantain sucks toxins out. It heals. It does so many things. Apple cider vinegar is also antifungal and antibacterial. And even honey in a pinch will make a mess of your feet, but it would, cure an athlete's foot, at least a mild case. Raw honey. So those are some things that you can do for any kind of fungal infection, but athlete's feet, is pretty miserable. And it can be a mild case or it can be really severe. It can be something that you just deal with all the time, and maybe you have to wear steel-toed boots and heavy socks, and, the circumstances are what they are. Or if you're a tennis player, or, you sweat a lot in your shoes or whatever, fungus grows. So that's an easy one. And it's a good spray to have on hand anyway for other things, because it is very antifungal. Next question was from the same person, and she says, we have so many mosquitoes here in Idaho in the summer. Is there a natural spray that we can use instead of chemicals that are on the market? And those of you that have been with me for a while know there definitely is a natural spray. We have Don't Bug Me, which is the spray, and I also have Ankle Saver. Both of them contain really good repellent qualities. They're a little bit different. One of them I formulated more for like fleas and that kind of thing, and the other one is more for mosquitoes and ticks and that kind of stuff. But they are some of the repelling ingredients that you can acquire this summer would be citronella. And of course, you know, citronella plants are really easy to grow. You could just have a few nice smelling plants on your porch and use that. Lemon, cedar, tea tree, calendula, neem. Neem is a really good, in fact, I use neem. I make a spray with neem to spray all of my plants, my herbal plants that I grow. Bugs hate neem. So that's definitely one that you would want to use. Rosemary is another one. Camphor. Camphor is another good one. Thyme and cinnamon. Those are all real good repellents for fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, anything bugging you. So I hope that that's helpful. But we do carry two sprays. Well, one of them's an oil and one of them's a spray that you can purchase from Crooked House Herbals. Don't Bug Me and Ankle Saver. So another question here is, I'm struggling with insomnia. Is there something I can do to help me sleep? This one is a big one. A lot of people have trouble sleeping, a lot. And of course, I have created a few formulas that work really well. It's better for some than for others. That's why I have a couple different ways I go with it. Quiet Night Sleep Tincture works really well for me. It'll put me to sleep in 10 minutes and I sleep all night. Some people prefer just like straight passion flower tincture. The Quiet Nights has got valerian root in it. It's got hops. It's got passion flower. It's got several other things that it's more of a formula, a combination. Lemon balm is real good for sleeping. It also will regulate your heart rate. So, you know, if you may have a couple of different things that are contributing to your lack of sleep, then lemon balm, and maybe it's blood pressure, maybe it's heart rate, maybe it's other things. Lemon balm is very good for calming and getting that under control. Chamomile, all of those are real good for sleep. My favorite is passion flower, and my Quiet Nights sleep tincture. All of that works really well for me. In fact, I've even given it to my dogs before. So it also, kava drops is another one that's a really good sedative, but it's natural and it's also a good pain reliever. Something else that I would recommend if you are having a real tough time sleeping is grounding. Right now, it wouldn't be possible at my house because I've got 8 inches of snow on the ground. But I promise you, if you do this consistently each night before you go to bed for about 10 minutes, you will sleep great. You will sleep better than you've slept in a long time. And I know it sounds weird and it sounds kind of funny, but it's like discharging the static electricity out of your body. That's the best way I know to describe it. Take off your shoes, go outside, and walk around in the grass or the dirt, whatever you've got, for 10 minutes before you go to bed. Just try it. And I dare you. I promise you, if you do that, you will sleep. So when all else fails, take a walk outside barefoot. Another thing that people don't think about a lot, but I'm going to actually be talking about this several times tonight because it's a natural, easy remedy for quite a few things. But consuming honey before you go to bed also will help you sleep. And here's why. It restocks your liver's store of glycogen, and it prevents your brain from triggering, like your crisis fuel alert. So for one thing, if any of you guys are snackers at night, or if you wake up hungry, or if any of those things trigger sleeplessness for you, a spoonful of honey will also it fosters that release of melatonin in your brain. And you know, people take melatonin all the time. For me, it was like, melatonin doesn't work for me. I don't know why, but it's because I wasn't triggering the release of it. So if you take a little bit of honey before you go to bed, it triggers that release of melatonin, and it stimulates the release of tryptophan. And tryptophan is what is in turkey. So how many of you, have ever had a big turkey dinner at Thanksgiving and then it's like, oh my gosh, I need to go take a nap? Well, that's the tryptophan in the turkey. And honey triggers that same release in your brain. So it converts to serotonin, which is then converted to melatonin. That's the process of tryptophan. And that's why you go night-night when you eat turkey. So honey does all of that. So if you've got some good raw honey at home and you're having a little trouble sleeping one night, take a teaspoon of honey and a 10-minute walk outside barefoot. See if you don't sleep better than you've slept in a long time. Let me know. Keep me posted. Okay, here are some questions from Lead Hill, Arkansas. By the way, I don't know if you can see her, but this is my lovely granddaughter, Emmeline. She's watching for any messages that come in. So if you've got something that you want to ask while we're having this conversation tonight, then type it in Messenger on Crooked House Herbal's Facebook page, and she'll be happy to relay it to me. Okay, this one says, I use plantain ointment for cuts and bites. Can I use it as a lotion on my face in troublesome areas or where my skin is really dry? And of course, the answer to that is yes. Plantain is so versatile, so versatile. It's something that everybody should have in your medicine cabinet. It sucks out toxins. It'll take the toxins from a snake bite. I know you guys have heard my snake bite story with my dog. Tick bites, bee stings, anything that releases a venom or a toxin, plantain will take care of. But it also has extraordinary healing properties. It'll heal things up overnight. So if you've got problem skin, or if you have extremely dry skin or whatever, putting on some plantain ointment at night before you go to bed is a great idea. A really great idea. It's safe for all your body parts. Another one says, my mother-in-law mentioned using bentonite clay for an upset stomach. So I use it anytime I feel sick, and it's awesome. But can I give it to my pet? Is it safe to give my dog? Again, the answer is yes. Those of you that have taken any of my classes or heard any of my stories know that I have a turkey baster that I use, and I make bentonite clay up. I use the powder, and I take about 1/4 of a cup, and I put it into a quart jar of distilled water and shake it up real good, keep it in my cabinet so I can get to it quickly. And there have been times when my dogs, cats, goats, or whatever have had problems. One time my cat got into something. I don't know what it was, but she was vomiting and seizuring and everything. And I didn't know where she'd been or what she'd gotten into. So I just went and got my turkey baster in my jar and sucked up a turkey baster full of bentonite clay water and squeezed it down her throat. Hour and a half later, she was eating with the other cats and was fine. So I also use it my sitting. Or okay, we back? All right. Food poisoning or I don't know, just an upset stomach or anything like that. Babies, small children, anybody can take it, and it will definitely, within 20 minutes, you'll feel the effects of bentonite clay. It, again, sucks toxins out and washes it through your body. So when you take a dose of it, then make sure you drink a good glass of water with it. Good water. Here's another one, and the answer is kind of lengthy because I went ahead and did all the research so you guys have good information. Can you use honey for an injury in an emergency? My answer is yes. Okay, Debbie Martin is asking, can I talk about distilled water? remind me about that in just a second. I'll come back to that, Debbie, after I talk about honey. All right. Honey is, like I said before, antifungal, and it's really, really healing. You can use it internally and you can use it externally. There's been a lot of research that has linked honey consumption with weight loss, which who knew, right? But the reason it is because it lowers your blood sugar or raises your blood sugar depending on what it is. It's a normalizer. And it may lower your triglycerides as well. But it also contains bee pollen, which is known to ward off infections. It provides natural allergy relief. It provides overall good immunity to your body. And honey's ability to prevent allergies is based on a concept called immunotherapy. So little doses, little doses, little doses, and you become immune to whatever you are allergic to. Let's face it, bees get around. And if you're eating raw, local honey, I always tell people, get your local honey, then you are building your immune system up against the things that you are having reactions to, that you're, allergic to or whatever. Let's see, what else does it do? Boost your immune system. Again, honey is, like I said, triggers that tryptophan, melatonin response in your brain and will help you sleep and relax. But here's a good one for the injury thing. A honey-infused bandage. So say you're out hiking, all right? And you carry a little plastic thing full of honey in it with it or whatever, and you have fallen and like scraped the heck out of your leg or whatever, and you've got a nasty road rashy sore thing. If you take that honey and you put it in some water and then take some bandages or whatever you've got that a piece of cloth or whatever that you can soak in that and then wrap around your injury, it will completely keep it from getting infected. It's amazing. It's also it prevents against all kinds of diseases. Honey is amazing. I mean, it's an old school remedy, guys, but there's a reason that it's still around and that it's still used like it is, because it's long standing. Let's see. Oh, I wrote this down. Peter Charles Molan at the University of Waikato in New Zealand has found multiple studies that honey is a natural antibacterial with wound healing effects. He also found that honey reacts with your body fluids. This is cool. How many of you guys, first thing you do when you get a cut is you pour hydrogen peroxide on it, right? To clean it out or whatever. That's what Grandma did. That's what Mom did. So that's what you're going to do. But this creates hydrogen peroxide, the honey does, with your body fluids, and it creates a natural antibacterial environment. So concentrations of hydrogen peroxide generated are very low in comparison to those typical to a wound. Thus, cytotoxic damage by hydrogen peroxide is very low. So I don't know if you know this, but hydrogen peroxide, it's okay on your initial cut, okay, or your initial injury. But a lot of people go back and then the next day when they go to dress it again, they pour more peroxide on there and then they pour more peroxide. And what that does is literally reopens the wound. It bubbles it all back open and reopens it again. So don't ever use hydrogen peroxide more than once. Use it initially if you're going to do that. But honey is a really good option because the dangerous parts of hydrogen peroxide aren't present. It works with your body fluid and creates that natural hydrogen peroxide. So for the treatment of burns, honey is typically applied right to your burn. My grandmother used to do that. Yeah, put honey on it, or butter. She used to put butter on it. I never figured that one out, but the honey makes sense. And change it every 24, 48 hours. Okay, what else can I tell you about honey? Honey's also good for coughs, and I know a lot of people know that too, the honey and lemon treatment, right? But there is increasing scientific evidence that shows a single dose of honey can reduce mucus secretion and coughs as much or as effectively as the dextromethorphan and the dihydroamine or whatever that stuff is that are in the cough medicines. Honey. And it's not going to have any of those other ingredients that are not good for you. So for a cough, half a teaspoon to 2 teaspoons of honey at night. It's going to help with your cough, but it's also going to help you sleep. So now we've learned a lot about honey. There's also a lot of other things about honey. It improves your digestion. It's a good acne cure. And anybody have any ideas why that is? Because it's antifungal and it's antibacterial. Makes sense, doesn't it? If you mix honey with ginger, what are you going to get? A really good anti-nausea medication. Makes a good exfoliator. If you mix some honey in with some baking soda and put it in your bath, it's good. I mean, nobody thinks about using honey in those ways, right? You put it in your tea, which is fine, but there's a lot of other things you can do with honey. It also will help improve diabetic conditions. It's not processed sugar. So it'll lower cholesterol. It'll improve your circulation. It makes your brain function optimally because it strengthens your heart and it improves your blood circulation. So mix some cayenne pepper and some honey together. Take that for your heart and circulation issues. It's an antioxidant, sleep restorative. It's good for your hair. You could use like a hair mask. Moisturizer. Oh, another one. It's real good for urinary tract infections because it's antibacterial. So give honey a try. Okay, Debbie has asked about distilled water. Distilled water is one of my soapboxes that I'm on quite often. But the reason I tell people to drink nothing but distilled water, and of course now more than ever, because there is so much scary stuff in the water, you don't even want to go near it. But distilled water is completely empty. There's nothing in it. So it becomes hungry water. And when you drink it, it will literally grab a hold of things that are lodged in your joints and in areas where the little minor particles or other types of things have lodged that haven't been flushed through. Or maybe it's even particulates from the water that you've been drinking. And distilled water will flush all of that through and restore your organs. It'll get rid of arthritis. I've had lots of testimonies about distilled water and arthritic conditions. It's a simple fix, and usually I just recommend, because for me it's a lifetime endeavor. It's not something I'm going to play around with. I just recommend getting on Amazon or somewhere and buying a countertop distiller. They're around, well, they used to be around $100. They're probably $150 now. But you can, at that point, you can run your tap water through it. You can run any, if you're bringing water from the springs or whatever you're doing. I ran all my water through a distiller all the time. And I hauled all my water up from the springs and hot springs because I had well water and I didn't even want to mess with it. But the spring water, it was amazing, the stuff that was pulled out and in my distiller after I would distill that water. So I'm never going to get off that box, guys. Distilled water will save your life. It will create a better quality of life, and it will make your life last longer. So you need to drink lots of water. That's nothing new, but you need to make sure it's distilled. I use distilled water in all my formulas. I drink nothing but distilled water. The only thing I don't use distilled water for is my shower. But other than that, what I take in internally is distilled. And I would recommend that you do the same, especially now. The water is very scary. Thank you, Debbie, for that question. Another one, this was just a comment, but she said, my daughter had a bee sting in her foot, and when we used plantain spray, it literally pulled the stinger out. She said it was amazing. They watched the stinger come out. I love 7 Years Young, but is it safe for my kids to use? Of course it is. It's all natural. It's the best face cream you could ever use, 7 Years Young. It's got so many really good ingredients. And of course, if you really want to know about any of my products, I'm not going to say all of them because I haven't had time in this not quite a year that I've been moving and doing other stuff to update my site with all new product information, but products I've been making and carrying for a long time, all of that information is on my website. So, and of course, you can always get a hold of me if you want to know particular things that are in products. I know some people have allergies to, different things, coconut oil or, different things like that. So you can always always get a hold of me, and I'll be happy to divulge what's in my products so that you can safely use them. But yes, 7 Years Young is definitely good for children. Get them started young. In fact, all of my products are good for children. Even the tinctures. If you, want to dilute them in water to, because of the very small amount of alcohol that they would be consuming, you could do that. Or if you have an allergy to a specific ingredient or whatever, that would be another reason you might want to dilute it. But tinctures are very, very, very strong, but they're just a very small amount of alcohol comparatively. I do make some tinctures with apple cider vinegar, and I have done a few with glycerin, but they're not as strong. Those I would make strictly for like infants or somebody that literally could not have any alcohol. Then I would do it that way, but they won't ever be as strong. You'll have to take more. Okay, this one comes from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Oh, wait, there's one more question here, and that was, what tea do you make that is good for upper respiratory symptoms? Crooked House Herbals makes 2 really good respiratory products, respiratory tea and respiratory tincture. They're both the same formula. One is just a tea, and then the other one's a tincture. But these products have mullein, which pulls out mucus and brings it out. I use mullein in my ear clear. I use mullein in several other products, but respiratory especially, you want mullein, you want red clover and burdock. Burdock is a good blood cleanser. Red clover is a good blood cleanser. Pleurisy root for your respiratory. Red raspberry leaf is also in there. And sometimes I even recommend that you go with some a little cayenne pepper in there as well, but I don't put that in my tea or my tincture. But I also make a really good sinus spray that works well for upper respiratory. I've had to use it quite often since I moved here because I'm in a little different environment, and my sinuses are like, what's going on? So I've had to use my sinus spray several times, but I'm telling you guys, that stuff is amazing. I mean, you have to count to 10. It's got cayenne pepper in it, and you kind of want to smack the back of your head for a minute. But I'm telling you, 15, 20 seconds, and I'm completely clear, and it's got bayberry bark in it, which shrinks all those swollen tissues. So you're just like, the pressure is just gone. And then I put some rose water in there, which moisturizes and makes it, calms it down and makes it feel better. And I carry it in my purse because I just have had to use it more than I did before. And I feel like, I'm definitely adjusting. I'm getting better and better since I've been here, but it's taken a little bit of time. And of course, I've had a lot of weather. And where I live now is absolutely wonderful. I love it very much, but I get so much wind. I'm 1,500 feet up, and I'm sort of on a plateau. So the wind just, I get a lot of wind. So that's different for my sinuses and my eyes. I've just gone with this kind of hairdo because, that's what works. Okay, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. I have bronchial asthma. What can I use for that? Okay, so asthma, I wish we could talk back and forth with this, because some of you have taken my classes and you know that asthma is a what kind of condition? It's an inflammatory condition, and all inflammatory conditions stem from diet. They also can be triggered from allergies. But again, allergies, it all gets down to just a couple of things. And diet is the main one. Even with asthma, people go, well, what does my diet have to do with me not being able to breathe? Well, it's inflammation is what makes you not be able to breathe. That's where your problem is. So with asthma, especially if you have allergies, it's a little bit more of a process. We have to break it down to all of your triggers, and we have to deal with each thing individually, but it can be done. In the meantime, keeping your bronchioles and your lungs clear and working well can easily be done with respiratory tea, a respiratory tincture. I would also recommend Vital Living elderberry syrup, because it not only boosts your immune system, but it is like one of the top 2 or 3 anti-inflammatories. And it's a double whammy. Mine is because I use ginger, which is also an anti-inflammatory, and ginger and well, I have Andy, quit, cinnamon in there as well. So the elderberry itself, though, is a very good anti-inflammatory, and you will notice a big difference if you take that. Now, again, it could be that, if you're allergic to everything outside, then you might actually have to go with an elderberry syrup that's, I don't know, start taking honey. Start taking a teaspoon of local honey. And by local, I mean like regional. Like if you live in Arkansas, anything from Texas or Oklahoma or, the surrounding states is still regional. It's still local enough. Don't buy it, though, if you're getting it from Virginia or from Montana, because that's not going to be as effective for you as the local honey. So I would start with those things, but the elderberry syrup does reduce the inflammation, and that will help you with your breathing. Also, the sensational sinuses, the sinus spray, clears all that upper respiratory. Mullein tea, or just use the respiratory tea because it's got mullein in it. But all of those things, the respiratory tea also will, if you combine that with a little golden seal, so that you've got that natural antibiotic. Well, the golden seal is in the sinus spray. So if you use the sinus spray, you'd be shooting some cayenne pepper, golden seal, bayberry bark into all of this, which in turn goes down here, and you would probably feel a lot better. It's all connected. So bronchial asthma, though, is an inflammatory condition and you're going to have to change your diet, I would recommend distilled water exclusively. And you're going to have to take some rigorous action unless you just want to live with an inhaler and steroids, which would not be my first choice. Eucalyptus oil is also another good thing. If you could get yourself a little diffuser in your house and diffuse eucalyptus quite often, and breathe deep when you can, because that's a very good one for clearing, as is peppermint oil. Peppermint will do a lot of the same things. So, okay, this one says, how are we doing on time?
We're good.
We're good?
Yeah.
What time is it?
It's 7:33.
Nice. All right, this question says, I have cysts in my pancreas. Is there a remedy for that? That's a good question. I'm so glad I got this one. We do make a product called Panc Repair, which is a tincture that I make, a formula that I make that nourishes and restores your pancreas back to a real good, healthy function. But it also contains golden seal and mullein and uva ursi, cayenne, licorice root, a lot of other things that will fortify your pancreas. Another really, really good thing for the cysts would be gravel root and hydrangea root. Both of those are dissolvents, and they're very good. They're in my kidney kindness tincture because they help dissolve kidney stones and gallstones and that kind of thing. But if you have got another thing that will take care of cysts is black walnut. Black walnut, internally or externally, will remove cysts. It'll remove warts, skin tags on your, outside, even moles. But it will also take care of an internal cyst problem as well. So not just in your pancreas, any place that you're having issues with cysts, I would recommend some black walnut tincture for that. And hydrangea and gravel root. All of those work really well with the other formulas for strengthening and creating a good healthy pancreas or kidneys, but also getting rid of those cysts or stones, anything like that. And distilled water. Drinking lots of distilled water. Yeah, I know. You'll get tired of hearing it eventually, but maybe you'll do it if I say it enough, right? Okay, don't forget, if you have any questions, feel free to type them in on Messenger, and we will get them over here and answer them live. If you can think of anything as we're talking that's interesting or a question, we will be meeting again next week. So depending on what your week deals out to you, you may end up with some questions for next week. This one says, I have trouble with constipation. Can you help? Yep, I can help. Also, I'll just say right off the bat, usually constipation is a dietary issue. And so you need to make sure that you're eating clean, that you're eating balanced, that you're not eating processed foods, not a lot of heavy red meat and that kind of thing, but also drinking a lot of water, good distilled water. And I would recommend an apple cider vinegar and honey regimen in the mornings every day. A teaspoon of honey and a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, raw apple cider vinegar, in a cup of warm water, and drink that before you do anything else, before you drink coffee, before you eat. Have that become one of your morning regimens. That's going to give you energy, it's going to give you mental clarity, but it's also going to get things moving. We have a product, it's called Smooth Move Home Colonic Formula. It's in a capsule, and some of the things it contains are Oregon grape root and Cascara sagrada bark. It's got fennel seed in it. It's got cayenne pepper, of course, and marshmallow root, ginger, bentonite clay. It's got apple pectin. It's got aloe, aloe-ferrex. And those of you that have taken my classes know that aloe is probably one of the best things you can ever take into your body. But the outside of the aloe plant is a laxative. And so I use that in my formula. The inside of the aloe plant is an amazing gel, actually, that will heal, but it will also help you if you're having trouble with protein uptake or assimilation. Aloe is a pretty amazing thing, and it's also really nice for your skin and your hair. So I use the outside part of the aloe in my Smooth Move formula. I have a lot of happy people because of my Smooth Move. It's a good one. You will feel, for any of you that have ever had a colonic, you know how good you feel after you have colonics. You're just clean and you're energized, and this will give you the same formula. The nice thing about it is it doesn't cost you a bazillion dollars, and you can take as many as you need to take. If you are really jammed up and you end up having to take 20, it's not going to hurt you. It's just going to break it up and send it out. You could also take it daily and it's non-habit forming. It's not going to be something that you become addicted to. So, it actually will nourish your bowels and the lining all in there, and it's good, and it's safe for children. I've even given it to my pets. So, very good. Okay, the last question that I have that was sent to me is a good one, and I'm hoping that it will help a lot of you. Do you have anything or know of anything that will help with vertigo? And this woman has struggled with vertigo. She's got a pretty bad case. It's a tricky one, but there are good natural helps. So turn on your ears and listen to this. Oh, by the way, before I forget, these Facebook Live episodes will be uploaded to the Crooked House Herbal's YouTube channel. Usually, I'm going to promise by the first of the next week. So probably by Monday, it'll show up on my YouTube channel. If you need to share it with somebody, or you just want to keep it for yourself or whatever, as a diary or a log. But I am going to upload them to my YouTube channel and have them there for other people to access when needed. Okay, back to vertigo. Lemongrass essential oil is a real key player and has been for several people that I've been working with. For those of you that don't know what vertigo is like this spinning dizziness that you can't even imagine. It will keep you from being able to just even stand up straight or walk. And when you have vertigo, just looking down to pick something up can totally lay you out on the floor. And along with that, if any of you have ever had like motion sickness, you get the stomach, you get the nausea, you get all of it because you're literally spinning. So it is a neurological issue. For a long time, this one person thought that it was her ears. And it's like, my ears are making me, but it's deeper than that. A bad case of vertigo normally can be traced back to things that are going on in your brain. So, but the symptoms are just like out of this world horrible. And so I went ahead and dug in, and I have a few herbal things that work really well, and I'm going to share them with you. There's also some good research. According to the National Institute of Deafness and Other Communication Disorders, vertigo is a common symptom that affects more than 90 million Americans a year. Although medications are available for dizziness, a common trait like vertigo can be naturally treated with herbs. I thought that was a nice statement because it's a research thing, and normally they don't give herbalists much credit. According to some studies, 5 to 10% of the adults in the U.S. experience vertigo, and nearly 40% of the aged adults suffer from vertigo at least once in their lifetime. So that's almost half of the population. But I have discovered that it's mostly occurs in women. So I'm not really sure what the correlation is there, but I've just noticed that. So here are some things you can do. First thing right off the bat, ginkgo biloba. Ginkgo is a tried and true herb, and it treats neurological disorders. It's very good if you have brain fog. It's very good if you have, if you feel like maybe you might be getting some early onset Alzheimer's type things or dementia or anything like that. But, you know, I mean, even if you're just getting that foggy brain, ginkgo biloba is a great herb. It also is good for vertigo. It reduces the stickiness of the platelets and lets the blood flow freely. So about 240 milligrams will not only cure vertigo, but will treat other neurological disorders as well. Ginger root is another one that effectively treats dizziness, vertigo, and will help with the nausea. So let's see. It contains a phenol compound and some volatile oils that actually improve blood circulation in with your inner ear and your brain. So if you've got those issues going on already and you're having vertigo on top of it, I'm going to recommend you put some ginger in a lot of things. Maybe drink a good amount of ginger tea and eat ginger root. It's good. There's ginger in my elderberry syrup. But fresh ginger root, just grated into things that you eat, is good. Ginger dressing, it's good. But you can do this. You can boil the ginger roots in a cup of water. Consume it along with some honey. And add ginger to your tea. Try not to use the store-bought powdered ginger if you can get away with it. I mean, you can find ginger root everywhere. It's in all the grocery stores. Fresh is best. For vertigo, 2 to 3 grams of ginger root is ideal for a daily consumption. So you'd either have to weigh that out, or you may be able to find a good supplement. But you want 2 to 3 grams, or if you're going to get some kind of a tincture, 30 to 90 drops. So just so you know, I'm actually working on a vertigo formula because I've had a lot of call for it. So I'm putting together a formula that probably by April, maybe the middle of April, will be ready. What else can I tell you about? Let's see. Okay, we talked about ginkgo. We talked about ginger. Butcher's broom. Butcher's broom is another one that's good. According to Phyllis Balch, author of Prescription for Nutritional Healing, it's a disorder in the brain and inner ear, and a significant cause is vertigo. It's a significant cause of vertigo. So the inner ear, like if you have a lot of inner ear infections and you've got brain stuff going on, maybe you have little TIAs or you've had other things happen, you're probably you're probably a good candidate for some vertigo. So butcher's broom is a vasodilator, and it will not only work good for the vertigo, but it dilates your vascular system, so you can move blood, kind of a lot like what ginkgo does. But this is even good for like if you've got vasculitis or if you've got problems with your legs or your arms or other extremities. Butcher's broom is a good one for that. You can get it in an extract. You can get it in capsules. I always warn people, if you're buying encapsulated herbs, make sure that you can see the herb and make sure that it doesn't have anything else in there, that the only ingredient is organic whatever. Okay, Don't add anything else to it. But consume about 150 milligrams of butcher's broom, and with maybe 100 milligrams or so of ascorbic acid, which is like vitamin C. Okay. But it will, if you do that in a short time, you will get rid of your vertigo. It's one of the best herbs. Cayenne pepper, obviously, is also a good one because it's going to increase your blood flow. And you got to have that. That's part of the problem is, and I'm just going to say too, if you have had any of the COVID injections, I would strongly suggest that you take the butcher's broom and cayenne pepper to heart, and some hawthorn berry as well, because you're going to need to keep your blood thin, and you're going to need to watch for clotting and irregularities. Please know that I am very serious when I say this. So get yourself some cayenne tincture or cayenne capsules, and hawthorn berry and butcher's broom would be real good. You can just mix cayenne pepper in with honey, like I said before, or in some hot water and just drink it. However you want to do it. Standard dosage for vertigo is 30 to 120 milligrams 3 times a day. Okay? Yes, ma'am. Anything?
Somebody asked, have you made 4 thieves cleaner?
Have I made what?
4 thieves cleaner.
I make thieves oil, which can easily be made into a cleaner. I'm sure that's what you're talking about, right? Is a cleaner made with thieves. Thieves oil is very good, antibacterial, antifungal. I use it for my hand sanitizer. I keep some in my purse. But it is very easy to convert to a cleaner as well, a spray. Okay. Wild indigo is another one that's good for vertigo. Basil. Okay, here's something that it's an easy one. Everybody has basil, right? And it can help treat vertigo like instantly. It contains antiseptic properties that reduce weakness and dizziness, but it is how can I say this? Well, instantly you feel the benefits of basil because it stops the dizziness. I'll just say that. Okay? And sometimes you just got to start there. But 10 to 12 drops of a basil extract in some water, breathe it in, drink it. Yes, ma'am. Did you say anything?
No.
Okay. Wild indigo is another good one for, it's not good just for vertigo. It's also good for head colds and dizziness of all kinds. Okay, here's another one that people might not know about. Mistletoe. And I make mistletoe tincture, but it's really good for a lot of different diseases. But it instantly reduces like headaches, and it'll improve your blood circulation. It's considered one of the best herbs for vertigo. So are you finding that there's a pattern here? Vertigo, almost all of these herbs that are good for vertigo and claim to be real good for vertigo are, they do something about circulation. So if your circulation is off for any reason, or if you've got some blockages or you got some thickness somewhere, then you could get some vertigo. Fixing that will probably take care of the vertigo. So, skullcap. I love skullcap. Skullcap is an old-time herb too, and it's also been used fairly recently by agencies like Alcoholics Anonymous and those kind, because it is it'll cross the blood-brain barrier, and it helps people with addictive addictive tendencies in their brain. You know, that part of the addiction. So it contains again the things that help your blood to calm. When you get that reckless blood circulation and you need it to be normalized, skullcap is one of the best. The Chinese have used skullcap for a long time for vertigo. So I do have a skullcap tincture that I make, and it is very, very good for a lot of things, but now we can add vertigo to that list. If you want to know more about skullcap, let me know. I'll talk about it more because it is a really interesting herb, and it's good. It's broad spectrum. It's good. It's like passion flower. Passion flower is really broad spectrum too, and will work on your central nervous system. It isn't just good for sleeping. It's good for a lot of things. So 3 to 9 grams is a standard dosage of skullcap for vertigo. You can steam it. You can get it in capsule form. You can take it in tincture form, however you want to do it. Another one is peppermint. Peppermint is considered to be one of the best useful herbs to treat vertigo. It's a crossbreed. I don't know if you know this, but peppermint's a crossbreed between spearmint and watermint. And it's got a real strong aromatherapy effect. It's got good essential oils in it. And you can, I would say, diffuse that one in your house along with some lemongrass. Make yourself a nice diffusion and keep that going, especially while you're experiencing vertigo symptoms. And you'll probably, or, rub it behind your ears and at your temples, down the back of your neck. Sometimes they can be kind of strong, so you might want to use a carrier oil and put just 2 or 3 drops in some carrier oil and then rub it on your skin so you don't have an irritation from the peppermint. It's got some really strong essential oils in it. And the last 2 that I'll talk about with as far as vertigo goes, one of them is black cohosh. It's a very productive herb for vertigo. It's a nervine. Skullcap is a nervine. Passion flower is a nervine. These are all real good for dizziness. It's also good for menopausal symptoms as well. But because it's a nervine, it's going to affect your central nervous system in ways that make you feel better. Okay, 20 to 40 milligrams of black cohosh extract twice a day for vertigo and menopause. Double dip. All right. However, the consumption of black cohosh, you're going to want to, that's the longest you want to take that one is probably 6 months, and then you need to go off of it for a while. And then you can come back on. Because it is a nervine, and sometimes you can actually make your symptoms worse if you take nervines for too long. So that's why I always tell people to rotate, even like with passion flower. Have 2 or 3 things that you can use. Use the quiet night tincture, or the passion flower, or maybe some wild lettuce or some kava drops, but alternate things so that you are not just dosing yourself with one thing all the time. Most of the time, I will tell people, especially if you're taking something regularly like Pank Repair or something like that, 6 days on, 1 day off. Don't take anything for 1 day a week. Give your body a total, complete rest, because what you are taking will become much more effective if you do that. And then the last one that I would recommend for vertigo is passion flower, for the same reasons. It's calming. It's a nervine. It's going to address the central nervous system part of your issue. So if you were going to narrow it down to like 3 things for vertigo, I would say lemongrass, ginkgo, maybe 4, cayenne pepper, and either skullcap or passion flower or butcher's broom. Okay. And maybe use them in a variety of ways. Use one as a tincture, use one as an essential oil roll-on, use one as a diffused thing, but somehow, combine those things and you should fix yourself up pretty quickly if you just do that. Frankincense is also one that you might want to keep in your medicine cabinet because it's very good for so many things. It's an amazing pain reliever, especially with nerve pain. But it's also an amazing, wonderful healing agent. So we'll talk more about frankincense next week because I think it's something that people really need to dig in and experience this year. So with that being said, what time is it?
It's 7:58.
It is 7:58. So it's time for us to say goodnight. Does anybody have any other questions before we go? Got a few minutes left. If you want to ask me anything else this week, don't forget next week we'll be here at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. Tell your friends, write down your questions because between now and then you'll forget, or you can send them to me by Facebook Messenger and then I will have them and you don't have to remember. You can get a hold of me at wendy@crookedhouseherbals.com. No, wendy@crookedhouseherbals.com. That's how you can get a hold of me. Or on my website, there's a chat feature. Sometimes if I'm not there, you can still leave me a message and I'll get right back to you. You can email me at crookedhouseherbals@gmail.com. I have plenty of ways for you to get a hold of me. Leave me a Facebook message. But I'm here for you this year, and I'm excited about being where I'm at. I'm settling in finally, and I'm excited about getting things growing and up and happening. I've got some exciting plans for this area. I'm going to do some workshops for homeschoolers and teach them how to identify herbs and what they can do with herbs. And I'm also going to start another online class. So we'll talk more about that next week. I want you to think about things that you would like class topics that you would be interested in taking. I would like some input there. So send me some topic ideas, and I want to get something going for those of you that aren't in my neighborhood, but still want to learn and want to be able to apply things to life this year in 2023. So with that, I will say goodnight. God bless you guys. I love you all. Remember that nature heals you best. And if you've got any questions, please get a hold of me because I'll be happy to spend time with you. God bless. Until next time.